Make sure you subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button. And to never miss another lecture from Miracle, hit the bell icon to get regular updates on English literature.
Hello and welcome to Miracle English Language and Literature Institute. I'm Professor Abha Sharma, and these days I'm doing poetry critical appreciation. I've already posted many poems. Please go and watch them. Today I'm going to take up Ode on Melancholy, written by John Keats in this segment. Keats, one of the younger romantics who wanted to see his name in the list of great English poets but could not see in his lifetime. But then his poetry was so good that on his epitaph it was written, his name is written in water. That means he became eternally famous through his poetry. This poem, Ode to Melancholy, was written in 1819 and was published in 1820 along with five other odes like Ode on a Grecian Urn, Ode to a Nightingale, Ode on Indolence, Ode to Psyche. So altogether he has written six major odes. Ode to Autumn, which is one of the most sensuous poet in English literature. It has all the five senses evoked through the word imagery. Keats composed this ode on melancholy after reading Richard Burton's Anatomy on Melancholy. He was very much impressed by the fantastic images the book had. So there are three stanzas in this ode, and we will evaluate one by one. So let's take up the very first one. So in this stanza, Keats is not telling us how to get over ourselves of our bad mood, melancholy, despair, misery, broken heart, but he's trying to tell us to make the most of this experience because melancholy is a part of human life. It comes now and then. So one should not try to escape from melancholy, but try to enjoy this bittersweet emotion. See the oxymoron of the thought inside this first stanza. One should experience the pain and sorrow and try to find pleasure in it. So, in the very first line, he says, "No, no, go not to Leith." Leith is said to be the river in hell. So he says that do not try to drown yourself in forgetfulness. Rather, enjoy the absolute melancholy. There are times when people are sad and when they want to forget things, they try to consume alcohol. So in the next line, he says, "Do not take the poisonous wine, which is got from wolf's bane, another nightshade." The pain should not be relaxed by rubbing the balm on the forehead. This balm is also got from nightshade. You know, when we suffer from headaches, we try to relax ourselves by rubbing the balms. So one should not do this too. We should not make a rosary with the berries of yew trees and count our griefs and sorrow on it. We should not crib on our sorrows. We should not tell people that there are so many sufferings in our life. We should not count them. Instead, we should enjoy them calmly. We should not indulge ourselves or our thoughts entirely on death. And he gives several symbols of death here as death moth, beetle, downy, and others. The buzzing of the bee reminds of death. It symbolizes that death is near. So one should not entertain these death moth. Our sorrows should not be inspired by the bad omen bird like owl. We should not associate ourselves with any object of grief and gloom, with pain, death, but try to enjoy these deep tragedies of our life. It should be experienced with full force and vigor, and one should not try to escape from this pain, rather enjoy it. So, the complete first stanza is about what one should not do when uh, gathered by the fit of depression, melancholy, sad mood. In the end of the first stanza, he says that do not try to escape from melancholy at all. And if you do, more and more will drop in your life and will make you sad, more sad, and you will be drowned in the wakeful anguish. Your senses will be lost, and your soul will be tortured more and more. In the second stanza, the poet tells us what to do when we are engrossed in the fit of melancholy. He compares the fit of melancholy to the shower of rain, which refreshes our withering sentiments and emotions. The clouds refreshes the flowers, and the pain and suffering gives an outlet to our emotions. So he's comparing the natural entity with our human emotions. As the April rain fosters the droop headed flowers and makes them alive again and cover the hill with greenery, in the same way, these sorrows they infuse life in us. They make us more strong for the purpose of living. And then he proceeds further and says that one can be fed on the morning rose, which inspires freshness. One can spend all the sorrow by looking at the beauty of the morning rose. Or one can stare at the rainbow made on the speck of dust in the sand. A single sand a particle will reflect light into seven colors. And once you are in a bad mood, you can even look at the beauty of those seven colors or say rainbows. And then he says you can even appreciate the round shaped flowers, which are called as the wild flowers, globed peonies, or the last one is more interesting. He says, when your mistress is in anger, she's raging at you, and there is all possibility of tension and fight between the two, you can imprison her hand, that is, catch hold of her soft hand and let her be in anger, let her cry, let her shout. But you should feed deep, deep upon her peerless eyes. That means you should try to appreciate her beauty, her beautiful eyes, and your anger would be stopped or changed. Even she would change. In the last stanza, Keats tries to tell us that beauty, joy, love, and happiness all are short lived. They are transitory in nature. And that's why we feel melancholous. The mood of melancholy dwells with beauty because beauty will be soon over. Death is the mother of all beauty, another poet had said in one of his poems. And he also says, joy is also for very brief period. It is always saying adieu, farewell. It is always leaving us before we realize that we are having the moments of joy. It leaves us. It takes all the goodness, all the happy moments, and turns them into poison. as the bee mouth sips, as the bee sips blood from the body, same way this joy takes away all the good moments, turning them to poison. And then he says, in the very temple of delight, will melancholy has her sovereign shine. Whenever we are in a delightful um, emotion, melancholy is sitting veiled. It will soon be there. It will uncover herself very soon, and this delight will be lost forever. So he says that we have the strong tongue. So we should burst this grape of joy against the palate. That means try to enjoy these moments only. They are like the hard grape, but when these grapes they are pressed against the palate, they give you the sweet juice. Similarly, if you live the moments of melancholy, you will enjoy in the end. And his soul shall taste the sadness of her might and be among her cloudy trophies hung. He says that whoever has enjoyed these sad moments, he has become more experienced. He has learned how to live. Melancholy is always attached to joy and pleasure, and joy and pleasure are transitory in nature. Love, happiness, joy, they are all for some time. So, in order to experience this joy, this happiness, we have to allow ourselves to experience grief, melancholous moments. So, he says that man is very sensuous. He has to burst joy's grape against his palate fine. He gives such a striking image because he himself has faced such bouts of melancholy. His own experience, his own temperament made him to say all these things. His happiness was also constantly being taken away by frustration. So he feels that death is the common denominator. There is negative capability subtly present in the lines, right from the beginning when he says no, no. And then in between also, he has given the images which are carefully crafted. They are ironical images when he says the droop headed flowers or the rainbow in the sand and other things. In the final stanza, we find more of negative capability that one has to live through melancholy. Means one should not always hope for joy, happiness, love. If one lives through melancholy, that will be more proper, that will be like one's trophy, one's victory. If you survive through the melancholous movement, do not drown away or do not die. It is an achievement. So, Ode on Melancholy is one of the shortest of Keats' odes, and it is written in 3 stanzas, 10 lines each in iambic pentameter. Hope you must have liked my effort. So, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Take care until I come with the next poem in my next video. Bye bye. Thank you.